All right, hey everybody. Another EMS CEU class. Today we're going to talk about documentation. This is an update due to some changes that are coming along. We have what's called the Data Health Exchange, which is coming to the state of Oklahoma, and we just signed on to this through ESO, and that allows us to access data and exchange health data between us and the hospitals. So it changed some requirements for things that we have to have so that we can access it. So it's a good time to update the things that we are required to get. So we're going to start with just the basics of documentation. What is required on each call?
Back in quarters.
And why we need those things. Okay, so let's start with demos. Right, so the basic demos that you need on each call, kind of we have listed here. We always have to get a patient name. If we can't get a patient name, then they're Jane Doe or John Doe. Next, we need a birthday, date of birth, social security number, phone number, and this is the new one. We need the MRN number, so that's on the face sheet. A lot of people have been getting that already, but some things to remember here, okay? The better combination of these we can get, if we can get all five, that's 100% billable call. It's 100% assurity that nothing's going to get messed up, that all the data is going to go where it needs to go. But a lot of guys are getting the MRN number now, but because they're like, well, I got an MRN, so I don't need these, or some people are leaving the phone number off. Kind of the way this works for billing per like Mediclaims, right? If we can get a combination of these three, two out of these three, they're pretty much guaranteed they can bill it. Okay, if we can't get one of these, the phone number becomes super important because I have to contact them. And now, as I said, the MRN number is a requirement for the Data Health Exchange for that to work. So try to get all five of these if you can on 99% of calls. Super easy to get all this information, just get it from the person really quick. Obviously, if you have a critical patient, you don't have time to get this or some reason, the MRN number off the face sheet is going to be really important, and now it's required. So make sure you're getting these. Next, for billing purposes, the thing that's most important is that we get the company that they get their insurance through, whether it's Medicare, whether it's Medicaid, or whether it's a private insurance. If it's private insurance, what's the name of their insurance company? Try to get that information. On the policy number, this is something that takes a while. Some people have it or some people don't have it. This is one really good thing with getting your demos correct. If we get an MRN number, we get a social security number, date of birth, we don't need that policy number because they can look it up super easy. Okay, so if you're not sure where to get this, it's on an insurance card. Obviously, but if the person doesn't have that or you forget to get it, when you get your face sheet to get your MRN, this policy number will be listed on there under insurance. So that face sheet has a lot of data on it that you can use. So grab that face sheet before you leave, and then make sure you verify all this, that their insurance is correct and that their information over here is correct. Last quick on the signatures, something that we're still struggling with on a lot of calls, and these will get tickets sent back to you. So I'm gonna go over signatures really quick on which ones we need. Okay, so real easy, every call we need a patient or a parent to sign. If they can't sign, then write a reason. So if they can't sign for altered mental status or whatever, write that in. Unable to sign due to altered mental status on the ticket. It'll then give you an option to sign for an EMS provider. So if you choose to sign as the EMS provider, you need a reason why that patient couldn't sign. So make sure that that's wrote in there. Next, facility signature. Doing a good job of getting the signature, but that signature has to have a name and a title. So it has to say Rick Bigger, NRP, or whatever, Rob Smith and RN. Okay, so it has to have a title in there. Make sure that we get these. If the nurse signs a squiggly line or a check mark or an X or whatever, so be it, but we need to know what their name is. If it's first initial, last name, that's okay. First name, last initial, that's okay. We need a title. Provider signature, no initials. So we've had this problem for years. We still have some people that are doing it. This is going to get the ticket sent back to you for you to correct. You cannot put initials and you cannot print. Okay, so This is something that got somebody the other day. You cannot print their names, so you can't sign your name and then print Madison's name and print Cody's name. Have them sign it, or it's going to get sent back to you. And the state has a copy of your driver's license, and Mediclaims uses this to compare. That's why they want the copy of that. So if you don't sign and you print, they will check it and they will just send it back to you. Mediclaims sent a bunch of these back here recently for not signing your ticket. So if you don't want your call sent back to you, sign your ticket. And then all signatures must be witnessed. So if you, right after you do one of these signatures, can ask you to witness it, make sure you witness it. And the same thing on your witness signature, you can't print and you can't use initials, you have to sign. So make sure that you're signing. This is super simple, should be easy to do all of this. It's actually, the main change is that you need this MRN number. So make sure that you're getting those. There's a place under destination, it says destination medical record number. That's where that goes. Make sure that you get that. And if you're getting these demos, this becomes a lot easier. Okay, something I struggle sometimes to remember to get insurance cards, policy numbers. So if you get all this information and you know that they're Medicare, this takes care of your insurance policy number for you. All I need to know is their demos and what company their insurance is through, and that takes care of the policy number. It makes my job easier. So that is basic documentation as far as bare minimum requirements that are on there from that kind of administrative standpoint. Okay, let me get rid of this real quick, and we'll talk about chart method and kind of basics of that. All right, so next on there, we have a patient. Any patient gets at least one assessment. So that's in the assessment tab. Okay, it has a tab that says assessment. I have to click. On that tab, it'll say quick assessment. I'm gonna click that. And then it's gonna give me some drop-down boxes for each part of the body. I have to then click either normal or not assessed, or drop it down and go through and specifically pick out the problems with that part of the body. Okay, if you click quick assessment and then hit not assessed, that's not an assessment. On a call that is a headache call, you could in theory not assess the pelvis, for example. That would make sense. But if somebody fell down the stairs, hit their head and is complaining of hip pain, and it says not assessed, that's not an assessment, and that call is going to be sent back for you to correct. So you got to have one assessment on every call at minimum. If the patient is transported, they need two assessments. Okay, this has always been this way. I've been doing this since 2012. It's been this way since then, so I assume it's been longer than that. Okay, one assessment for like a refusal or something where somebody's not transported. Use your quick assessment tab. Make sure you push all the buttons and that it says either normal baseline or not assessed. And if you're going to use not assessed, that needs to be valid for that, such as somebody hurt their hand and you decided not to assess their pelvis, because that makes sense. There'd be no reason to assess their pelvis. Okay, everybody needs two assessments if they're transported. So they have to have two if they're transported. We're going to kick this back to you if it doesn't have two, because it's a state requirement. Vital signs, okay? Make sure you have two, same thing. Two vitals. Everybody needs two vitals. For whatever reason, like it's a patient evaluated, no treatment required, okay? You don't, and they wouldn't let you, they refused, whatever. Hit unable to obtain, has a little bubble. Hit your bubble, it'll ask you why, patient refused, not indicated, etc. And pick that. And the only thing that you'll have to do is you'll have to put that the patient was alert. All right, so just have a set of vitals. It'll have you unable to obtain because the patient refused, and then they're alert. But there has to be two sets. Those are your kind of basic requirements that are on there as far as in the call that I can think of right now. Things that problems we run into or questions people have. So two assessments, two sets of vitals. If you have 15 sets of vitals, because the alarm is continually going off, you need to go and get rid of those if they're not good vitals. So make sure you are checking your vitals. All right, on the documentation at the end, on the narrative. Okay, so chart method. We have some people that are struggling with chart or charts. Okay, So, got chart method, right? I understand that R isn't treatment. Somebody asked me about this the other day. That's because RX is the abbreviation for that. So you put the little X on here, right? This one generally is chief complaint is usually abbreviated as C/C, okay? But don't erase this and write treatment, because just use charts, right? But go down the line and use charts. You don't even have to put this on there if you don't want, but use the outline, okay? The big thing that we're running into with charts, things that people aren't doing, the basic requirements. In this assessment, there has to be a full body assessment. So you can write it all out if you want, or you can use the template that's online. So the template that's online has the easy full body assessment that's on there. Right? And then each thing has its pertinent narratives or its pauses, whatever is on there. Okay? This assessment has to have one of these in it. So you can use this easy way to do it, or you can write it all out if that's the way you like to do it. That's fine too. But if you write it all out and you have a fall down a set of stairs where the patient hit their head and complained about hip pain, and then there's no pelvis, nothing talking about the pelvis, the extremities, or the head in your narrative, then it's not documented and you don't have an assessment documented. So if there's not one in the narrative, we go back to the assessments on the inside that we talked about earlier in our punch card, right? We go back to there to our check boxes and it says the pelvis not assessed. So you didn't assess the pelvis even though this person had a hip call. I know you did, but you documented that you didn't. So that call's gonna get sent back to you and you have to fix that. Okay, so use the chart, it's easier. It's up to you though. If you want to write it out, that's fine, but make sure that you include everything if you're going to write it out. Next one is treatment. Okay, that's one that's a lot of people. Okay, so bare minimum requirements. It must say that you did an assessment. Okay, some people like to write ALS assessment. Okay, that's okay. You're doing more than you have to. Every assessment we do here is ALS because we're all ALS. So you can just write assessment. The other thing that has to say you do is a set of vitals. Okay? Has to have these two. If it requires it, then you can have 4 lead, right? Or you can have cardiac monitor. Some people like to write it that way, right? Et cetera, et cetera. You just have to list them like that, okay? Things that people are putting that we don't need, okay? Or that are pulse ox. I know back in the day we used to do this, okay? Pulse ox is not a treatment. It's a part of vitals. If you write pulse ox, you're just wasting your time writing it, okay? It's part of vitals. Just write vitals. Okay, we don't need pulse ox. Another one, general supportive care. General supportive care is not a treatment. It is assumed that every person that you see gets general supportive care. But just writing general supportive care and then not writing assessment and vitals is not okay, right? General supportive care is not a treatment. Do not write that in your treatment section. Okay. Assessment, vitals. And then you can write whatever else you want, but that has to be in there at minimum. If you don't write that in there or some version of that, we're going to kick it back to you. Transport. Get some people, okay? We need to know where you went, how you got there, who you dropped them off to, and whether or not you had any belongings. And then how we left you. Okay? So the template online has an easy way to do this. It literally says patient was transported to Bailey Medical Center, non-emergent. Upon arrival, we gave a report to the RN or staff. Okay? No belongings were transported and they were last seen A-04 GCS 15. If you don't answer these questions and you just put transported to BMC. We're gonna send it back to you. You're leaving out all types of vital information. You're not talking about any of this stuff, and Medicare wants to know this stuff. These are reimbursement questions, and these are pertinent questions. You have to put this in there, the ticket's gonna send back to you. Okay, so we can't just put BMC, that's not okay. You have to put something, there's a template online. I'm not gonna write through the whole charts thing because we have templates online for every call. If you have any questions about it, see that. You're gonna go to the O Drive, go to fire, go to EMS. Under there you have a template, it says chart, method, templates. Has them all on there. If you have any questions, text me, call me, and I can help you. But everything is right there, and you can see everything that's on there that's required. If you can't find inside of the ticket where to put the MRN number, okay? The last one, anything special you need to put, it's a great place to put the MRN number. If you can't find it, there's a box for it inside your ticket. But if you can't find it, you can write it there. All right, so basic chart method. Basic stuff, getting the bare minimum in your ticket. So that's it. I believe that's it. The main thing from this, to remember from this, MRN number, so we write that. MRN number is brand new, and that is for the Data Health Exchange. We have to get MRN, so make sure that you're putting MRN numbers. The other big one is for Mediclaims. Demos, just because you get MRN does not eliminate you from getting name, date of birth, social security number, phone number, MRN. Those 5 things will get you right there. That takes care of a whole lot of stuff. Make sure we get good demographics. And if we can't get anything, that's cool. Make sure we get the MRN. But just because this MRN allows us to go look it up, somebody has to go do that work for you. So when you don't do that, somebody, probably Chief Blevins, has to go back through there and go to the hospital information and dig that information up and call people and look for that information. So make sure we're getting our demos best we can. Signatures, if you don't want tickets picked back to you, sent back to you, signatures are the biggest culprit of that. And make sure that you're signing everything, you're not doing initials, and that you're getting the name and title of the people at the hospital. So recap on documentation. If you have any questions about any of this, just let me know and I will help you out. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.